Hello everyone, look at this portrait. Now this is one of the best pictures that you would find. I mean, I don't know who the man is, or I don't even remember where I found the picture, but I found the picture, and this is one of the pictures when I say to everyone, please take a good picture of yourself and then post it. Look at the beautiful shadows here and the light. It's got a good setting. It's got the buildings. He might be a millionaire, for what I can see, or somebody working in New York in a a firm. Very interesting face. Very he looks that he's very confident. He knows his game, so you can see that he's a very well off or well-to-do person. But apart from that, these are important, because when you draw, you have to think of these things. You have to make a confident guy, and you think of those positiveness, or all these good things that associated with with a face like this, or of that interesting look that he's got. Now, but another thing that is very important is when you take a picture, and I say to you, post a picture with shadows. This is the best example you can have. Look, light and reflected light coming from the buildings, and look, he's light in his hands, fingers here, and then beautiful shadow and light. It's perfect. So it's very interesting. I don't know, as I said, I don't know who the guy is, but it's almost like a drawing itself. It's like a work of art. So where to start? Starting first with the overall shape of the head. It's tilted. It's not like that. It's not straight. It's like this. So there's an angle to it. Possibly that. I mean, brush and the charcoal, the dust. Now this would be the line that I see here in the middle, and that's his nose. And then eyebrows there, and then head coming down, that straight line here, chin, and fingers, that dark here, and then you have hand as it goes right here. Then the shadow, which you have it right under the lip here, or the lip here, you have the shadow here, shadow, fingers here, and the knuckle, well, knuckle is here, and then the fingers up here. I'm keeping the light area here. I'm trying to have a look at that and check and establish as quick as I can. And then the overall shape, which I didn't, so that I forgot, is I was occupied with the fingers there, but the overall shape of the head, that's very important, the most important thing. And the tilt of the head. Now at the line of the eyebrows, you have and then as that line goes up, and you have the ear. The ear comes down, and then you have shadow, this shadow. And then you see the reflected light coming from the top of his head, and shadow here, and the nose, side of the nose here, and then you have tip of the nose, philtrum, mouth. It's got very thin lips. That's characteristic of his face, so not to forget this. Again, insisting on the darkness here of the eyebrow, and shape of the head, more rounded. Now this is, if you're wondering, that's number 16, if you can see it here. Number 16 brush. correct, that's number 16. And it's Hobbycraft brush, bought in at Hobbycrafts. It's a good brush, average, good. That's the eye. I'm looking at the eyelid, so I'm keeping the eyebrow above and the eyelid below. The roundness of his nose. Nose itself. Careful with the nose, because as I saw with the Queen, some of us, well, including myself, we tend to overdo the nose for some reason. I mean, I've seen myself doing that, so keep an eye on the nose always. I mean, this particular portrait and the Queen, this guy and the Queen, they have elongated nose, but then it fits their face, the shape of their face. So it's not that, you know. So yes, it might be an elongated nose, but then again, that's the way that their face is actually suited for the nose. And the dark of his jacket. Now at the back there are high skyscrapers, so as I said, he looks American, he looks on a skyscraper at the back, New York, a banker possibly, who knows, but as I said, I just like the face, like that confidence that he portrays, and he's very calm. I mean, who knows? Can you imagine having such a, high and risky and very stressful job, and being so calm is just amazing. I mean, I don't know much about it, but thinking of all these things, and these things, if you think about it, they do help. By thinking about what he possibly is going through by sitting there, you are more likely to get the likeness. Not necessarily, but it helps a lot. So again, looking at the I'm increasing the darks, so I'm trying to make it a little bit more voluminous, and fingers here, the shadow of his chin. Jaw is up here. Then you have see the little shadow on the glasses here. Look, that little shadow here. It's vaguely there, but it is there, so you cannot ignore it. Shadow here, that little reflected light coming here from his jacket, and the neck is above the nostril. So if the nostril is here, then the neck starts there. That's his jacket again. And there we are. So somehow I've got a general indication of things, or where things could be or where they should be. Now I cannot darken it anymore, so I'm now forced to use willow charcoal. Okay, so let's start with the overall, again, the overall general shape of his head. Come into the background here, just to get that shine on his head. And that line, you see that, and that's how you get things. That shape just gets, or that line of the shadow gets right there onto the line of his hair. So you see, and then you have on the top, you have that line right here, and the hairline, as it moves back, it gets blonder or less dark. And then you have the beginning of his hair, which is somewhere here, and the whole thing is darker. As I said, I could not darken it with my brush, so I'm darkening it with the charcoal. Willow charcoal again. Right here, that's the eyebrow. And if you focus on here, all this area is dark. And you have two highlights, eyelid and the white of the eye. So let's keep that going. First of all, keep in mind that angle of his nose. Dark, 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 dark. Philtrum. Dark, dark, and dark here as well. And I'm right here now. Do this dark, but don't forget you have the finger, the thickness of his finger. And at the moment I'm looking at the values. What's the darkest dark? There you have it. Darkest dark is here. On this side of his face, on the right hand side. Forget about the highlights here, because I can come back with the putty rubber and do them later on. Now, fingers are here, so right here. And then the skin tone of his chin is darker than the finger. You see that? So highlight, how much highlight or illuminated is the hand compared to the face. These are the tonal values that I'm looking after now at this point. And then get the lines. Don't forget, don't go too dark with the lines. See, I'm going many times just to see, because I don't want a very sharp line. The lines are not, in nature, they're not as sharp. They're quite soft actually. Sometimes we do them sharp just to make a point, but in this case it's a soft portrait, it's a soft picture, so keep that in mind. You can do the sharp edges where we need them, like for instance here. Okay, now eyes. Let's see that look that he's got here, which is so calm. And the eyes dark. Then you have that part of the eye, which is the outer part coming back to the skull. closer. You got the line of the skull line here, I mean the outline. And glass. There's no line there. It's very, very, very soft. There we are. And then under the nose, look, the end of the mouth is right here on this nostril. So nostril here, that's the end of his mouth. So he's got very, very narrow lips. And then you got the philtrum here coming right here. Shadow, 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 shadow. And then you got this nostril here. Nostril. And let's see where that highlight is. That is right. If you go vertically down, 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 go straight to the nostril. Vertically down, down, straight to the nostril. So that's where the highlights will be here. And then you got the eyelid and then the eye itself. Just a tiny, tiny dark line. And then that is very, very dark. The eyebrow and the tonal value between the eyebrow and the forehead is dark. The nose could possibly get a little bit longer, possibly not. I'll leave it as it is for the time being. No, philtrum, philtrum, philtrum. And then the darks of the hand or the middle finger here. And then there you are. Then you have this that line coming through, or you can see that, look, I mean correlations that you have here. Lower lip with the line, as it moves towards the right, just comes right up here. And then you have philtrum, as I said, a bit darker at the top, and then darker the upper lid here. These lines, I said, there's a correlation, and then I could move that knuckle up a bit and then possibly move the knuckles a little bit further out. Like, for instance, at the back of his nostril, if you move down, you can have the back of the nostril, move it down, you have the knuckle of the finger here. There you go. And under his nostril, you have the little finger. Talking about this, and then the hand itself. But then we have another correlation. Look at that, how beautiful that line from the middle finger. Move it down, and you will have the darkness of his knuckle here. There you are. And then you have that square here. It's such a, these squares are repeated all the time. This is making it such a perfect portrait. Look, square, square, angular, 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 angular. This is such a, it's very attractive as a portrait. I mean, if you really look at it, it's such a perfect portrait. I think the person who did it, took that shot, knew what he was doing. It's like a painting in photography. And that's the line here. And then those darks, you just get them a little bit more transparent. When I say transparent darks, this is what I mean. When it goes too dark, then immediately soften it with your fingers. And the darkest dark is actually right vertically. Joe, darkest dark is his jacket, of course. Neck. And we need that dark here. We need the dark because you compare the value. This is a lot darker than that. So that's why we need those darks here. But then don't want to continue too low here, because again, the dark, it's enough just around here. You don't have to continue with darks all that side. It's not a necessity. Now let's see, because I think I'm slipping it a little bit out of the proportions here. Let's see the width with the length. So this is what you do to check without tracing it. The width, one side to the next, to one side of the head to the other, and from top of his head, the nose. That's it. Look. So from here to here, hair, not ear, hair. Look. See my finger? This one. The tip of my finger. 1, 2. Ooh, it's so precise. It's amazing. So from here to there. Oh wow. Almost perfect. It needs to go a little bit longer here or up here, but it's almost perfect. It's good, good. Okay, so let's move that up a bit. Let's move that line up a bit to make that width match what we see. Sorry about this noise, I'll mute it. I just muted it, sorry. Okay. And here. And the back of his head. And then you have the buildings around here. And okay. Face. Inwards a bit inside here. Is inside. Just trim the cheek. Sorry, the chin, and then a little bit the chin here, a little bit less dark. That's better. And those darks, they could go also a bit softer like that. Filter them. A bit less dark. Although it's quite dark here. The values are really strong here. But what I'm trying to do is to get rid of that harsh dark lines, dark lines which are done by the charcoal. So soften them a bit. Okay. Now, another thing where we said that's the width which is correct so far. Now let's do the ear, which exceeds that line. Do you remember what I said? The width from one side to the other, and then the ear exceeds that. It's a bit here. And then it's almost parallel with the side of the iPad here. Now the filter, the ear loop, I think is, and then it's on the top of the filtrum earlobe. Sorry, earlobe, and a little bit more transparency on the earlobe and the ear. Do you remember what we said at the beginning? You have that line, which taking it from there, and if you continue, that's at the top of the ear. There you are. And the sideburn is at the same height as the eye, so it's here, eye, at an angle. There you have the sideburn. Then you have the hair coming here, and then the glass, the metal bit. It looks like a pope here on me, the way I'm doing it. I mean, obviously it's the shine on his head, but it looks like a little hat. Again, I'm trying to bring the darkness here, and then the front of the forehead, which is that little island here, this one, and there's another one there. And what I mean by islands, they are slightly softer in value than the main darks that I see here. All right, okay. And I guess I need to go a lot darker here. Under his eye, a lot darker. And a bit darker than that, especially here around the glass. And top of his mouth is slightly lighter here, here, there, upper lip, philtrum, and there you are. Bit darker here, where the eyebrows are closer together, and some shadows here, right here, some half tones here. Roundness of his head, so round movements to follow the roundness of his head, and then not to forget the valley of the buildings behind, the blues coming from back at his from his back, from the back of his, or from the window, basically. Sorry, I'm not thinking. Again, it's hard to concentrate and say things properly at the end. In the end. All right, I think the fingers, they come up to be a little bit too long on me. So let's see. Right under his eye is the finger at the back of his eye. So no, that's okay. But why it looks so long on me? I don't know. We will see. I'll progress a bit more and check it again. All right. The nose gets a little bit more, not so rounded on me as I have it here. It comes a bit more inward. So you see, it's not rounded. A lot of people have it rounded, but this particular portrait on this particular property, it's more, I'm talking about the top of the nose, the tip of the nose, and the nostril here. There you are. Bring the nose up a bit, and I think the philtrum needs to move down a bit. More elongated, the philtrum. And I'm forced to use some putty rubber here because that part of the philtrum, it's very basically just moves that way, moves there. Not that much, but yeah, it moves something like this. There. And there's more distance between the philtrums. These two, they're a bit more apart. There you are. And keep an eye on the mouth. As I said, on the mouths are a lot softer when you think, look, that line separating the two parts of the mouth is upper and lower lip. Very soft like this. It's a lot better. You don't need to go too dark there. Highlight on the nose ridge, highlight at the top of the glasses here, softer whites, softer highlights. Now, there's a peculiarity about this portrait. Peculiar. I mean, it's not. It could be a defect of his face, but I guess it's not. It's the angle of the photography. Now, this. Do you see that? Do you remember that I've said you have this angle which moves up a bit, and then that establishes the ear. Let me go further back so you see everything. On my perfect photography here, look, I established the ear. Now that, though, doesn't follow. That line should follow. So this eyelid, in my view, it's higher than that. But it could be the angle of photography, or could be that, you know, faces are not exactly symmetrical. Could be that side of his face could be longer than that. Who knows? I don't know the man. So, but that appears to be not to follow the same rule. So if it followed the same rule, that should be that the eyelid should be further up, or this should be lower. So let's keep an eye and see that this eyelid goes horizontally, matches the end of the eyeball of this eye. So if the end of eyeball of this eye, the eyelid is here, so it's lower. No, actually it's higher. As I said, it's higher than that. But let's see where it goes. It goes in the middle, not at the end, in the middle. So here. There you are. I mean, if I'm complicating things too much, just follow where that eyelid leads and forget about, you know, I mean, my theory of his face. It's just a theory. We don't know if the guy has any defect or it's the angle of photography. I don't know. And it's an old picture, by the way. It doesn't look too recent. Looks a little bit with quite a bit of low resolution. Okay, that was a mistake. It was a slip. That line was very, very dark. So keep, see that dark line here, it's not actually there. It's more here. There. It's a lot darker there. Get it more rounded. This bit here, more rounded. And it's an important detail, very sharp dark here, and that makes him quite sharp. It's obviously the glasses, the reflection of the glasses on his close to his eye. You have the glass, the end of the glass, which is at the same level as his eye itself. So here. I am going very dark here, and I don't think I need that as dark as that, but it's fine. That if I go dark here, then I have to go dark here, and this is why I didn't want it to go as dark, but anyway, I could go a bit darker. Get the gloss. Spectacles. And yeah, that's a lot softer here. It's a lot softer here as well. And I mean, these shadows are a bit harsh. I mean, here. So I'm trying to get them a bit softer with my actual brush here. But it takes the dust completely, so no, doesn't work that way. So I should possibly need to spray it first and then put more darks on it at the top. And not forget to keep the top of his head quite light. There we are. I mean, it's a lot lighter than that, so why not go and highlight that, especially right up at the top. It's like a sphere. Highlight a secondary light source, first light source, secondary light source, and third. You might even say that, but it's two light sources, one on this side, one on that side. So it's reflected building, or could be an indoor lighting. I don't think so, but could be, or could be just a window. Very, very close. So highlight here. And brighter. Why not bring that highlight also on his earlobe and ear itself? A little bit more of curls. His beautiful hair with curl here just gives that impression of curl. Found this picture on, don't remember, it was on Pinterest. I thought it was just a picture, and it really, really attracted me straight away. It's such a good picture. And I said, I have to draw this man. It's very likable. Now, and then you have this one. Top of his little finger, a bit more rounded here. There you are. And let's get the highlight down here. his little finger. There you are. Now, I could go and get a bit darkness of his, I guess, jacket. Oh, God, it's too dark. I don't like that. Yeah, get rid of. Now, although it needs to be dark, I mean, checking one value, this value, that dark value, the darkest of the portrait compared to that, very similar. So I cannot say there is no dark there, so why not come to that? Let's do that. But I need to soften it, and that is, look, see the shoulder, it's right under the nose, so it's not low. You might think it's low, but it's right under the nose, so there, it comes right up there. See, there we are. Okay. Let's keep an eye on the, soften that a bit more here, and let's get this, because that will make him look more like him. That part of the eye, it's highlighted. It's where the eyebrow is. There we are. And the eyebrow. And that highlight here, the other eyebrow, the other side of the eyebrow. This one a bit more. And now is the time to come and exactly, precisely highlight the upper eyelid. Now, upper eyelid on his right eye as we look at the portrait, or his left as he's looking towards us. Right in this case is at the angle higher than this eyelid. So if this eyelid is here, that is actually slightly higher. There. And the white of the eye, if you move vertically down, then you have, it's outside the nostril, so you move vertically down. And it's outside the nostril. Nostril ends up here. So let's do that. And the white of his eye is right there. A bit brighter here. And highlight of his glass. Sorry, spectacles. Spectacle, it's just right now. And then highlight of the spectacle. Metal bit. Okay, now he's got more of an elongated face. It gives impression than me here, so let's elongate his face a bit more by lowering his chin. Yeah, a bit more, and lose that. It's a bit sharp here, so let's lose that a little bit. Now you have his index finger is lower than his middle finger, and he's under the spectacle here, so that's there, and it just moves down here, and there, and that is his jaw. Jaw, and that dark patch, which is actually the pressure that the guy gives on his jaw, cheek, jaw, whatever you want to call it. And the highlight of his jaw around here, right here, and his neck, a bit wider, and the hair, his curls, beautiful curls, and see light. This is light value, and this and this. So let's make it what we see. Let's make that dark value, which is the skyscrapers of New York. I don't know where it is, but I guess it's well, it's definitely United States. I can guarantee you that, because the skyscrapers are really, I mean, it doesn't say any information about the picture, so I'm assuming all these things. I'm just making up things, really. There you are. You've got the skyscrapers here. And then there as well. All around here. Whoa, don't like the shadows here, but if I go and darken or soften them with my fingers, I could try and get those. They're a bit harsh, so don't want to get too involved with them because it might go a boomerang against me. But what I'm planning to do is to get the whites first, as much as light as I can, and then spray it, and then come back and forth. Okay, now let's get some highlights, folks. Here, nose, and tip of his nose there, lip, very thin lips he's got, and the lower part of his lip, I mean the lower lip, I meant lower lip, it's like a straight line there. Eyelid, white of the eye, careful not to make it too bright. Spectacle here, a bit lighter, but the spectacle a bit lighter. There you are. All right, and then the spectacle right here. There. Highlight of his middle finger. Highlight of the knuckle here. Highlight and highlight index finger and his jaw, and a bit lighter here, lighter also on his fingers here, get a bit lighter here. There Not bad so far. A bit highlight here. And I'm just indicating that highlight here. At the top of his forehead. Top of his head. And keep an eye on that. Look, the spectacle creates an optical illusion and moves the skull inwards. See that? Actually, the head moves like this, organically. But then that makes it move inwards like this. There you are. There we are. I'm artificially starting to lose this, you see? There's this line that's quite light, but I'm bringing it deliberately, moving and losing that line and merging it with the skin tone. It is better, it functions. It creates perspective, it creates depth, it creates volume, all these things together. And bring the chin. There you are. Oh, you see that? Soft highlight. And actually it's a little bit and that part, upper lip, it's a bit wider. So bring it like that, a bit wider like this. And the spectacle is a bit darker as well. Get some dust. Make the spectacle a bit darker. And that sharpens up his nose as well. Top of his chin. There you are. And this little light on his eye. You see that? There you are. That's important. Is the spectacle inside? I guess. Or it's just a reflect. No, it's the glass of the spectacle reflected. Yes. See. Okay. Now I'll spray it. And then hopefully I can get more darks out of it, because he needs more darks. Now let's spray it. And that's Winsor & Newton. That was it. Sorry for the noise. And then leave that. I'll leave it a couple of minutes until it dries out. And don't want to put anything on it now because I've tried doing it last week and it actually was wet. It's not that good. Waiting for it to dry a bit. Okay, I think a couple of minutes passed. Let's go and darken a bit more. Where's my charcoal? Oh, where the charcoal went? Oh, here. Okay. darks of the charcoal here. Sharpen up edges, go a little bit darker again. Highlighting the darks a bit more. And on this side of his face, which is the darkest part, darker, and possibly going a bit faster by using brush. Yeah, it goes a lot faster like this. And a little bit further up. It's still not. It's not still not 100% dry, but it's okay. Darks on the middle finger. And here. Index finger, a bit darker this side, and a lot darker the ear in value. Darks. His hair, do you remember that dark which goes, as we started from the beginning, goes straight to the hair. That line going straight to the hair. There. Bit dark there. Don't want to go too dark because this area, if you squint your eyes, it's part of a wider shadow. So I need to keep an eye on that and not darken too much, because the darks are actually here. Concentrate is where the light illuminates the head, and it's actually, that's where the biggest contrast is. So that's like a secondary dark compared to that. And also, as I said, join those darks like this. That's what I meant. So it is dark, but don't lose track of this dark. That's the darkest dark, or that should be the darkest dark, because that's where you have the, as I said, the light illuminating the forehead. And a straight line right. It's not a straight line, it's an angular line right up to the highlight of his eye. The eyes here. top of the upper lip. And then the lower lip, dark, 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 the lower lip. A bit darker than that. Yes, it's more into the value of things. And also I could increase the darks a little bit more here, especially across the nostril, around the nostril. I meant a bit darker. Up to the cheek. All right, now I think it's dark enough. And then bring that patch of the highlight, which is the lightest light, is right here. It's this patch here. So not lose track of that, but it's not an exact light patch. It's just slightly, you know, goes in gradation. Light, lighter and darker. I think I need to bring that forehead a little bit more tucked in here. Bring it more into there. Cheekbone. And a bit thinner here. The nose thinner. There, just that shapes up the nose a bit more. Could go with the ear a bit more wider, I guess. It could go a bit wider, I think. Why not? And then white of the eye around here. And then a little bit wider the ear. Sorry. Slightly wider. It's good. Now, and then the jacket here. And that shadow, cast shadow on his neck by his jacket. There you go. Earlobe highlight here. Sorry about that. Then a bit lighter. So this side of his cheek, lighter here. And lighter, lighter. There we are. I could bring some highlights more here. Gives him more character, but also very soft. He doesn't have many worry lines. As I said, he looks very, very calm. Slightly lighter. That's after being sprayed. So I'm a bit more secure by using the rubber here because the spray doesn't give away too many of the darks. So I can be a bit more generous with the pressure of the putty here. Use a bit more pressure. As I said, it's more difficult to get the darks out, especially after being sprayed. There we are. And then highlight here. Bit more grey the hair, not as dark as that. Yes, I know it's darker, but a bit grayer. It's better. Works better. Because you want to concentrate on these darks here. So don't darken that as much as that. That's the main dark, as I said, that's the main cast shadow from the highlight. Not cast shadow, core shadow, sorry. Got the terms wrong. The main core shadow. That's a cast shadow. See, that is being casted on his finger by the nose. This shadow here, that's a core shadow. And then a bit more highlight here. And a little bit highlight. So it gives his eyebrow a bit of a tone. A slightly darker tone. A very, very slight darker tone. That's it, that's better. And then you have forehead. Worked up a bit more now. Let's lose that. That's a bit too sharp, too dark. So softly merge them together. Okay. I think we are almost done here with this. I could quite highlight a few things here. I could highlight a few things, but I think it's good enough. And the earlobe a bit brighter. That's it, slightly brighter. Could go and do some shadows here. Yes, I could. Around the ear. Why not? That brings, see, it highlights the earlobe a bit more. Gives him a natural lighting from the window. And I guess a bit highlight here. Separate the cheek a bit more. And soften that part of his end of his mouth. There you are. Do you remember I lost that line or brought the jacket onto the face? Now I can highlight it a bit more. And the chin a bit lower. There we are. Okay, it's good enough. Oh, I saw somewhat to improve, to make it slightly less dark. That could be a little bit less dark here. Make it lose that sharp edge. Highlight this area and some highlights here inwards on this curl. Get these curls more rounded. I'm just deliberately highlighting them a bit more to get the contrast with the actual ear and the spectacle, the metal frame of the spectacle here. Some highlights here with the putty. All right. Well, see you on the next one. What's the date today? It is the